Good afternoon to all the NEET aspirants. This is your Prasanna Ma'am from NEET World. So yes, in today's session, we are going to exercise all the NEET previous year questions from the chapter Anatomy of Flowering Plants. So yes, today we are going to deal with complete set of questionnaire from the year NEET 2025. Stay tuned till the end of the class beta. First, if you have to look into NEET 2025 question, wherein the question is about monocot stem. Most of the questionnaire is from the clear differentiations between monocot and dicot, root, stem and leaf. So here if you look into the first question, find the statement that is not correct with regard to the structure of monocot stem. Okay, with regard to the structure stem he is asking. First, let us recall the anatomy of monocot stem. Of course, we know monocot stem has an epidermis and next to that hypodermis which is sclerenchymatous hypodermis. After the sclerenchymatous hypodermis, complete layer is filled with what? General cortex. General cortex is parenchymatous. General cortex. In this parenchymatous general cortex, vascular bundles will be originating, which are called as schizolysigenous in origin. These are conjoint and closed vascular bundles. Conjoint and closed vascular bundles will be present. Okay, conjoint and closed vascular bundles which are in schizolysigenous in origin in this parenchymatous tissue. Right? Epidermis here is again parenchymatous. Recall this. This is a basic structural description of monocot stem. So here if you see, vascular bundles are conjoint and closed. Yes, this is correct only because there is no secondary growth that is observed in the monocot stem. Second is phloem parenchyma is absent. Yes, phloem parenchyma is absent in the monocot stem. Phloem parenchyma is present in dicot stem. Third, if you see, hypodermis is parenchymatous. Wrong. Hypodermis is sclerenchymatous in a monocot stem. Hypodermis is collenchymatous in the dicot stem. Remember that clear cut differentiation. Hypodermis is sclerenchymatous in the monocot stem. And then vascular bundles are scattered. Yes, vascular bundles are scattered in this general cortex, that is parenchyma. Clear, right ma? So here the incorrect statement with respect to this question is option 3. And then here if you see, bulliform cells are responsible for what? Okay, bulliform cells are responsible for what? Where do you see the bulliform cells first? This is the question. Question about bulliform cells is asked in the NEET 2024. Bulliform cells you will see in the monocot leaf. Okay, large cells, large specialized cells in the monocot leaf epidermis are bulliform cells. This bulliform cells will play major role in leaf during both turgid and flaccid conditions of the leaf. So what are it responsible for? What are they responsible for? So here if you see, they provide large spaces for storage of sugar. No, they don't have any function in the storage of sugar. Inward curling of leaves in monocot. So whenever the leaf is in the flaccid condition or in the dry conditions, then the leaf will be rolled inwards in the monocots. That is the characteristic feature or the function of the bulliform cells to prevent the process of transpiration. Okay, in the flaccid conditions, because of the bulliform cells, the leaves will curl inward. Inward curling of leaves in the monocot leaf is because of bulliform cells. And third option, if you see, protecting the plant from salt stress and increased photosynthesis in monocots. There is no role of the bulliform cells in salt stress. Bulliform cells only aid the leaf in water stress. They only aid the leaf in water stress. Clear, right ma? This is about the concept description and the question of the two years 2025 and 24. One more question. See, there are statement based questions also which are asked from this chapter. This is one such statement based question appeared in NEET 2024. So here if you see statement 1, parenchyma is living and collenchyma is dead tissue, which is wrong, right? So what are the simple permanent tissues beta? Simple permanent tissues that we have learnt are parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, of which parenchyma and collenchyma are living. They are living tissues. Sclerenchyma is dead. sclerenchyma is dead tissue. Parenchyma is living, sclerenchyma is dead, not collenchyma. So here statement 1 is wrong. Asumi, good afternoon ma, continue with the class. Next, gymnosperms lack xylem vessels, but presence of xylem vessels is characteristic of angiosperms. True, in gymnosperms xylem vessels are absent, okay, and they have just sieve cells and albuminous cells. Xylem vessels will be absent from the xylem tissue. In phloem tissue also gymnosperms will have sieve cells and albuminous cells instead of sieve tubes and companion cells, okay. So here xylem vessels are absent in gymnosperms and xylem vessels are characteristic of angiosperms. Here statement 1 is wrong and statement 2 is correct. So here statement 1 is false and 2 is true. Next question, if you see ma, yeah, given below are two statements again a statement based question. So what is the reason that you have to look into the pattern of questionnaire? Because few patterns of the questionnaires will be picked from few chapters only, where assertion, reason and statement based questions are asked to the maximum. One such chapter is anatomy of flowering plants, wherein you can see multiple statement based and assertion reason type of questions. So here if you see given below are two statements. In assertion, late wood has fewer xylem elements with narrow vessels. Yes, this is true because late wood is formed in which season ma? Winter season. During winter season, that late wood will have just fewer xylem elements with narrow vessels. In reason, it is described as cambium is less active in winters. True. See, why late wood is having fewer xylem elements with narrower vessels? Because of less activity of cambium in winters. Because of less activity of cambium in winters, they have narrower vessels and fewer xylem elements. So here assertion is true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. To know when assertion and reason both are correct and to know whether reason is explaining assertion or not, there is a trick. You just put questions after reading the statement of assertion and read on the statement of reason. Then you will see the connectivity between the reason and assertion. As such, here what will be the right answer beta? Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Here again given below are two statements. Statement 1 and statement 2 is given. Okay. So look at here. In statement 1, endark and exarch are the terms often used for describing the position of secondary xylem. Wrong. The primary xylem, whichever is built in root or stem, the primary xylem will be developing either from the peripheral end to the inside or from inside to the peripheral end. Okay. So the first formed xylem in the primary xylem is called as protoxylem. First formed xylem is what ma? Protoxylem, and later it will be metaxylem. Protoxylem and metaxylem. Fine. So if the protoxylem is towards periphery and metaxylem is towards the center, this is the exarch condition, where you will observe this exarch condition in the root. Exarch condition you will observe in root. So this completely is the primary xylem, where protoxylem will be towards the periphery, metaxylem will be towards the center or pith, and the proliferation or maturation will start from periphery to the center. This observation is observed in root, and this mode of primary xylem arrangement is exarch arrangement. Second is endark. Endark arrangement, where protoxylem is towards the pith and metaxylem is towards the periphery. Okay, protoxylem is towards the center or pith and metaxylem is towards the periphery. So this protoxylem and this metaxylem is towards the periphery. This maturation is from the pith to the periphery. This is endark mode of arrangement, endark, which is observed in the stem. Fine, and this is the primary xylem, not the secondary xylem. So here statement 1 we can eliminate. This is the wrong statement. In statement 2, if you see ma, exarch, very good, lucky, right answer. Exarch condition is most common feature of root system, right? So exarch is most common in root system. Statement 1 is wrong and 2 is true. So here which option we have to go as? Like he said, it is option 3. Very good, ma. Continue with the class. Identify the correct statement. Again a statement based questions. So from anatomy you have to highlight all the concepts. Each and every liner of your NCERT is important, because many at times multi-statement questions, assertion reason questions and statement based questions are only asked, right? So here if you see all the statements, first, lenticels are lens shaped openings permitting the exchange of gases, true, which are present in the stem, right? Next, bark formed early in the season called as hard bark. No, the bark which is formed early in the season is soft bark, which is formed late season is hard bark. Next, bark is technical term that refers to all tissues exterior to vascular cambium, wrong. Bark refers to all the tissues which is exterior to secondary xylem, which is exterior to secondary xylem, okay. So after secondary xylem, vascular cambium, primary phloem, secondary phloem and periderm, everything comes under bark only. So bark refers to periderm and secondary phloem, true. Next, phellogen is single layered in thickness, no. Phellogen, which is cork cambium, can be 2 to 3 layered, okay, it can be 2 to 3 layered. So in this case, what option is correct? Bark refers to periderm and secondary phloem. Let me explain this statement in brief, because most of the students will have some doubt. Bark refers to periderm and secondary phloem. Periderm again has 3 tissues, beta. What are they? Phellum or cork, phellum or cork. Next, cork cambium or phellogen, phellogen or cork cambium, and phelloderm or secondary cortex, phelloderm or secondary cortex. Fine, right? So all these tissues belongs to bark only. So here what are the 2 correct statements need to be identified, ma? Option 1. Yes, correct. Next question. So here you see, in old trees, the greater part of secondary xylem is dark brown and resistant to insect attack, okay. So here you see all the statements carefully. Secretion of secondary metabolites and their depositions in the lumen of the vessels, deposition of organic compounds like tannins and racins in the central layers of the stem. But of course, before dealing with this question, let me confirm, the questions from the secondary growth will not appear in the NEET 2026. So far, if we have to consider new syllabus of the NEET, from secondary growth the questions will not be appeared. So we will put this question for last. Yes, look at this question, ma, from vascular bundles, which is appeared in NEET 2022, important. Yeah. So here, read the following statements about vascular bundles. In root, xylem and phloem in a vascular bundle are arranged in alternate manner along the different radii. Of course, this is true, because in root what type of vascular bundle arrangement will be there? Radial arrangement of vascular bundles. Radial arrangement of vascular bundles wherein xylem and phloem, xylem and phloem, xylem and phloem will be present, which are radial in the arrangement. Conjoint closed vascular bundles do not possess cambium. True. Conjoint closed vascular bundles, where do you see, ma? Monocot stem. Closed means there is no cambium in between xylem and phloem. Statement 3, if you have to observe, the open vascular bundles, cambium is present between xylem and phloem. This is observed in dicot stem, okay, and then dicot stem and dicot root as well. The vascular bundles of dicotyledonous stem possess endark protoxylem. Just now we have seen, in dicot stem it is endark protoxylem. In monocot root, usually there are more than 6 xylary bundles present, because it is polyarch in arrangement, whereas in dicot root it will be diarch to tetrarch condition. So here all the statements are right. In this case, what option we have to choose? Option E. All the statements or all the options are correct. Next question. So here if you see, the anatomy of spring wood shows some peculiar features. Identify the correct set of statements about spring wood. About spring wood we need to identify the correct statements. So the first, spring wood, it is also called as early wood. True. Spring wood is also called as early wood. Autumn wood is late wood. In the spring season, cambium produces xylem elements with narrow vessels. Wrong. In spring season, very good. In spring season, cambium produces xylem elements with broad vessels, not narrow vessels. Okay. And then early wood or spring wood is light in color, and spring wood along with autumn wood shows alternate concentrating rings forming what? Annual rings, and it has lower density. So except B, all the other options are correct. In this case, what option we have to choose, beta? A, C, D and E. Okay. Option B will be the right answer. And next question. Yeah. Match the following type of question which has appeared in the year NEET 2021. So here if you see list 1 and list 2. Cells with the capacity of cell division. Of course, meristematic cells, right? Meristematic cells are meristematic tissue. So here A is option 2. And then tissues having all the cells similar in size, similar in structure and function. Those belong to what? Simple permanent tissues. Okay, cells, all the cells are similar in structure and function. They are simple permanent tissues. And then tissues having different types of cells. Vascular tissues which are complex permanent tissues. Complex permanent tissues. Whereas in this complex permanent tissues, if you have to see for xylem and phloem in specific, xylem will be having tracheids, okay, tracheids, vessels, xylem fibers, xylem parenchyma. Okay. In phloem if you see, they have sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. So all the tissues present in one complex tissue, that is why this complex permanent tissue will have bunch of tissues with different structures and functions. So here tissues having different types of cells, vascular tissues. Next, dead cells with highly thickened walls and narrow lumen. Highly thickened walls and narrow lumen are scleroids, that is option 3. So here if you have to look into the right set of options, A will be 2 and B is 4, C is 1, D is 3. Option A will be the right answer. Very good, ma. Next question. Yeah. So here again this is a match the following type of question appeared in the year NEET 2021. Look at it carefully. First, lenticels whose main function is exchange of gases, where you will observe that in the stem. Okay, lenticels for exchange of gases. Next, cork cambium. Cork cambium is also called as what, beta? Phloem, which is option 1. Secondary cortex or phloem. Cork will have suberin depositions. Cork or phloem will be having suberin depositions. So here what is the right answer? A is 3, B will be 1, C is 4 and D is 2. Option B is the right answer. And next question. Yeah, select the correct pair which is appeared in NEET 2021 again. So, the large colorless empty cells in epidermis of grass leaf is bulliform cells, not subsidiary cells. These are what? Bulliform cells, not subsidiary cells. So, if you have to look into twice the question is asked on bulliform cells. Most of the questions on vascular bundles, especially on the comparison with monocot stem, dicot stem, monocot root, dicot root and bulliform cells of the leaf. And what else is highlighted, beta? most importantly the differentiation, okay, about simple permanent tissue, complex permanent tissues and protoxylem, metaxylem, exarch, endarch condition. On all these concepts the questions are covered past 5 years, okay. So look at this option B. In dicot leaves, vascular bundles are surrounded by large thick walled cells, conjunctive tissue. Yes, in dicot leaves vascular bundles are surrounded by large thick walled cells, conjunctive tissue. No, large thick walled cells here in leaves are what? Bundle sheath cells. Conjunctive tissue you will see in between xylem and phloem in root, not in leaf. Next, cells of medullary rays that form a part of cambial ring is interfascicular cambium. Yes, true. Next, once again look at the statement. Cells of medullary rays that form part of cambial ring is interfascicular cambium. No, not just medullary rays will be formed. In interfascicular cambium, if you have to see, that is observed in conjoint open type of vascular bundles where xylem is at the center and phloem will be at the periphery. So, in between xylem and phloem, whichever cambium is present, this is intrafascicular cambium. And in between two vascular bundles, whichever in between two vascular bundles, whichever cambium is present, which forms the cambial ring, this is interfascicular cambium. Clear, right? So, here you look into it. Yeah. So, it is not just medullary rays that are forming in interfascicular cambium. Next, you look at the fourth statement. Loose parenchyma cells rupturing the epidermis and forming the lens shaped opening in the bark is by spongy parenchyma. True. So, here which option will be correct? Option D is the right statement, correct pair. Next, last question of today's session, ma. Hold on, which is asked in NEET 2020. The transverse section of a plant shows the following anatomical features. So, the transverse section, if you see a large number of scattered vascular bundles surrounded by bundle sheath, okay, scattered vascular bundles, immediately you will recall what? Monocot stem. And then second statement, large conspicuous parenchymatous ground tissue. Yes, large conspicuous parenchymatous ground tissue, that is general cortex, inside which the vascular bundles are originated schizolysogenous in origin. Third statement, if you see, vascular bundles are conjoint and closed. True. Next, phloem parenchyma is absent. Yes, phloem parenchyma is absent. Phloem parenchyma is absent in the monocot stem. Okay. Phloem parenchyma is absent in monocot stem. So, all these anatomical features will belong to which stem? That is monocot stem. All these anatomical features belongs to monocot stem. So, if we have to clearly analyze all the questions that we have exercised from NEET 2025 to NEET 2020, what set of questions have appeared more? Mostly comparison between dicots and monocots, endarch and exarch xylem. Quite at times the question is asked on bulliform cells, and highlighting pattern of the questionnaire, if you see, mostly we have assertion reason type of questions, statement based and multi-statement questions from this chapter. So, based on this analysis, tomorrow we will be having an advanced questionnaire session targeting NEET 2026 from this chapter, anatomy of flowering plants. So, that is all for today. Thank you.